Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my monthly wrap-up video. I'm going to share the 4 books that I read this month with you guys and just tell you what I thought about them. Okay, so I'm going to start out with 2 books actually first, because these books are the first 2 books in a trilogy that I read this month that I really enjoyed. Under the Never Sky and Through the Evernight by Veronica Rossi. These are the first 2 books in the Under the Never Sky trilogy. I really love these. I think I gave both of them a 5 out of 5 stars. If you're unfamiliar with this trilogy, basically it is a futuristic dystopian, and in this we have basically destroyed the planet and there are these terrible storms. I pronounce it ether. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it, but there's these terrible like ether storms which burn and destroy a lot of the planet, and the main protagonist in this series actually lives under these biodomes that were built when the storms first started getting really bad. And she goes on this escapade, I would call it, to try and find out what happened to her mother, because her mother is one of the scientists in this community and she went to study something in a separate dome and she hasn't heard from her and she is getting suspicious about what is going on. She actually comes across our other protagonist, a person from the outside, and things take off from there. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I've heard great things about the characters, which I love the characters. You guys know the characters are my main thing when reading a story. If I love the characters, I can put up with a lot. Anyway, but I didn't really know what to expect going into this. I knew that it was going to be kind of a dystopian, but there's more to it than that. And I love the characters, guys. The characters are so good. Also, I just have to throw it out there. Thank you, Veronica Rossi, for not making this a triangle, because I was scared that that was gonna happen. It wasn't the case at all, even though the other guy who was the potential other love interest is amazing and I freaking love him. But I'm very glad that he has his own thing going on, and it's just, yes, I just loved it. I loved it. I loved it a lot, and I love the characters a lot, so definitely recommend this. Next up is the book that I read for Rainbow-thon, which, if you guys remember, I decided to participate in the Rainbow-thon a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't great, guys. I just didn't read. I have, I think, 2 books, maybe 3, that I started reading that just didn't catch my interest. And I think that's what really put me in that kind of like slumpy mood where I still wanted to read, but I had a really hard time actually getting into any of the books I was reading, with the exception of this one. This was the book that I actually read that I actually really enjoyed, that I'm so happy that I finally read, because I've had this in my bookshelf for the longest time. Ruby Red by Kerstin Gier. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. It's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. This is written in a way that I usually don't love. I found this book to be a lot more kind of like a setup in a way, where there were a couple like rising action points, but there was never really that huge build up. You're typically not the biggest fan of that kind of story arc. For this, I found that it really worked. Well, first let me tell you guys what this is about. So this is about a girl named Gwen. Her family are time travelers, and there is this gene that runs through her entire family that lets people time travel. I think it's typically like at least 1 person per generation, and this time they all believe her cousin to be the carrier of this gene, and they believe that when her cousin turns 16 that she's gonna start time traveling and kind of embark on this huge mission that Gwen doesn't really know anything about because she's not a part of it. Surprise, surprise, turns out that Gwen is actually the one who travels back in time, and obviously she is very unprepared for this. She has no idea what's going on. She has no idea what she's supposed to do. She is dragged into this society and into this world where she knows nothing about, and she has this very important mission that she is completely unprepared for. Anyway, the reason why I say that I think that the story structure kind of worked really well for this is that, well, one, it was never really boring. There was never just any information just being like randomly thrown at you where you just got bored, which I think is a tendency that can happen sometimes when stories kind of follow this structure. And I think what really helped that is that Gwen as a character, I really liked her, and we are learning about this world through her perspective, because she knows nothing about this world because she was not supposed to be the time traveler of the family. So as she is learning about all these things and about what she's supposed to do and the mission, and even if she is now part of this world, they don't necessarily trust her because she hasn't been training her whole life to be this thing that they want her to be. Seeing things through her perspective as she's learning these things, as she's kind of coming to terms with it, I think is what really helped this not drag out and not become boring. I'm very, very interested in seeing where the story takes off. Hopefully there is a bit more rising action in the next book, which I do own and I do plan to read this month, hopefully. Also watch the movie, by the way. It is actually a series that was originally written in German. I couldn't find the English subtitles anywhere. I ended up finding like the Spanish version. So if any of you guys speak Spanish, just look it up on YouTube. It's available there. I really, really like the movie as well. I really like the actors as well for the movie. I know the third one is coming out this summer, I believe, but since it is in German, I'm probably gonna have to wait until at least next year or something to be able to find it online somewhere. When I read Sapphire Blue, I'm definitely gonna watch the Sapphire Blue movie. So yeah, anyway, but yeah, point is, I really enjoyed this. Gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read last month is The Book of Ivy by Amy Engel. I actually did a full review of this, and if you're interested in seeing my full review, I'll link it up here. But this is another dystopian, and this one actually takes place after a nuclear war has destroyed the planet. The main protagonist of this story is Ivy Westfall, who is the granddaughter of the founder of this town of survivors in the middle of the United States. And when we are introduced to her, she is actually being forced to marry the grandson of the man who took the power away from her family in this town that they built. And her job is not only to marry the grandson of the Latimer family, her job is also to kill him and kind of restore her family to power. But things don't turn out the way that she expected them to, because as she gets to know Bishop, she realizes that things aren't as black and white as her family made them out to be. I really love this. I thought that it was very realistic, and I couldn't recommend this more, guys. I want more people to read this. And those were all the books that I read this month. I am very happy with the books that I read, and I really did fall in love with a lot of them, particularly The Book of Ivy and Under the Never Sky. I love those. I love those 2 series, and you're definitely gonna see a lot more of them in my channel. And that is gonna be it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys. I really, really highly recommend this book. Seriously, guys.